One final concept here in dealing with the percent of profit. However, I'd like to tell you before I start this problem that technically what we're looking for here is the owner's percent increase in equity. Well, the first thing we need to do is define what equity is. Equity is going to be the difference between what you owe on the property and what the value of the property is. So a couple of things about equity. One is your original equity, which will be important in this problem, is always going to be your down payment, okay? Also, keep in mind how equity can increase. Equity can increase by your property going up in value, what we refer to as appreciation. It could also you could also increase your equity by paying down your loan amount, which we refer to as amortization. Okay, so let's take a look at how all this fits together in this problem, how it's similar to the problems we've been doing, but different. Instead of comparing the profit to what you originally paid, we're going to compare how your equity grew in relationship to your original down payment. So here's what this is going to look like. This problem is going to be the increase in your equity, increase in equity over your original equity and of course we're looking for percent. What was the owner's percent increase in equity? All right. So in this particular case, let's start with the original equity. Instead of it being the original investment of the price of 200,000, the down payment was 20% of that. So remember, your original equity is always going to be your down payment. So where did I get the $40,000? It's simply 200,000 times 20% down payment. 20% down payment. Okay. All right. I feel pretty good about that. The increase in equity is going to be a little bit different, going to be slightly more complicated. And here's why it's going to be complicated. Your equity grew in two ways. One is it grew by appreciation. Your property went up in value. So let's take the 200,000 you originally purchased it for, and it went up by 15%. Not bad. Okay. 15% of 200,000 is $30,000. Would you agree that that is in fact an increase in equity? So I'm going to put it over here on top of the T-bar. But I'm not finished. Because notice what it says here is that simultaneously the loan was paid down by 5%. What was the owner's percent increase in equity? Okay, well, if the loan was paid down by 5%, the first thing I need to do is figure out how much the loan was. Well, does it make sense to you that the loan amount is going to be 200,000 minus the down payment of $40,000? So now your loan amount is $160,000. That's your loan amount. Now, the only way the loan amount helps you in this problem is that to figure out how much you paid down on your loan, you first had to figure out how much your loan was. So now that we know that the loan is $160,000, we can calculate what 5% of that is. Now, notice it doesn't ask how much the loan went down to. What it's asking is how much of it was paid off. And the answer in this particular case looks like it's going to be $8,000. Well, guess what? That's new equity. That's new equity. Just like this was new equity. Okay. So we add these up here at the top. And finally, we're ready for our answer. There was 38,000 in new equity divided by the original equity of $40,000. So 38,000 divided by 40,000. There's no doubt in my mind that your calculator says 0.95. And of course, we convert that to a percentage by moving it 2 spaces to the right. Adding the percent sign, the answer to that question is 95%. And you can see that that is answer D. Now, a couple of good things about this. One, if you struggle with this concept, don't worry. I don't think we're likely to go to this ends on the exam. If you're strong at math and you want to understand this one, that's great. But having said that, if you struggle on this one, remember, I want you to deal with the percent increase or the percent of profit or loss. But having said that, only if you know those do you try this one as well. It would be a little bit of a long shot that you would be tested on this on the exam.